How you doing?
Good, man. Good.
That's good. How's you and your family? Obviously, you're dealing with COVID-19. It's a scary time. How are you guys doing?
No, we're good. Obviously, it's tough time trying to not knowing what's next, but the family's good. We're just trying to follow rules
Yeah.
and try to work through it and find ways to stay busy. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely crazy, and obviously, not what many people when they see like one state being affected, they think it's the whole of America. And
Yeah.
as you know, it's a state by state basis on how COVID-19 is going. How was COVID-19 in regards to like Wake Forest?
So right now, my family's from South Carolina, so I came to stay with them. So I'm here in South Carolina working remotely from home. But I know back in North Carolina where I live as well, it's kind of the same story when it comes to not knowing what to do. I think they extended the stay at home in North Carolina to May 30th, I think, the end of the month. So still trying to figure it out. And I think here in South Carolina, what's crazy is we've opened some retail stores and some beaches and stuff like that. And nobody knows if that's the right thing to do or not. So obviously, state by state has their own thoughts on that. So yeah, but it's
No,
tough.
it's crazy here, man. Well, I mean, we're lucky, number one, that we're living in a very small country. And I mean, on the news yesterday, we only had 3 new cases throughout the country, which is great. But I tell you what, so that we were in lockdown 4, which is, you got to stay at home. You can't leave. Small businesses were shut, and now we've moved into 3, which is like small businesses can reopen now, not
Mhm.
just essential workers, but you're still going to be 2 meters away from different people. You can't extend your COVID bubble with your isolation group. And I just read on the news this morning that 3 McDonald's have been shut down because they've run out of stock. Like
Oh,
people just they just
yeah.
went to
That's food
McDonald's.
now. Quickest way, grab it, go back home.
Yep, that's it, man. Like seriously, it's crazy. But look, for everyone that's watching this, Jonathan is on the men's coaching staff at Wake Forest. They are a fantastic soccer program. They've been ranked inside the top 10 for a number of years. Their success very much, is across the board, not just in soccer, but in all sports as well. So thank you, Jonathan, for being here. We really appreciate your time. And I mean, we've got a range of questions that we want to ask you. Before this call, I posted on our social media and asked some people if they had any questions to send them through, and some of them did. So we'll run through those very shortly. But I guess the first thing is, how did you get into being a student athlete yourself? When did the process start for you?
Yeah, so obviously, I was born in here in the States, from New York, and I was in a moving transition in that time of high school. So when I moved to South Carolina, and that's where I kind of settled and have been here since then. We had obviously I didn't know much. I didn't know the area. I didn't know anything. So obviously it was a time for me to a transition time. So it was a little bit harder for me when it came to figuring things out. But obviously football, soccer keeps me grounded and helps me. So I focus on that, and I think I focus on that a lot more than school, and that was my issue. So obviously the focus was football, and then to me, school came second, and that was my issue. Um, so with that being said, I ended up going into the JUCO route, the junior college route.
Right.
Played 3 years at a junior college, which is a 2-year program where you go there, take your basic classes to get you eligible, and obviously move on to a 4-year school and NCAA eligible as well. So I did that. Obviously, coming out of junior college, did well there. Won 2 region championships with the program there, Spartanburg Methodist College. And then from there, had a couple other offers for Division 4 programs in Division 1 and Division 2, and I ended up wanting to go stay home, close to family. That was my thing. That's what I wanted, and so I stayed here at a Division 2 program called North Greenville University, and that's where I played for the rest of my 2 remaining years. And then from there, Played a little bit of semi-pro here, what they call the NPSL, the PDL. And then I just, from there, went on and started getting involved with coaching and focused more on that, and knew that was kind of where my calling was, and went further with that than actually playing. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, I mean, it's amazing that you went to junior college and then you went on to a 4-year program, and now you're coaching at one of the top Division I colleges in the country. It's an amazing journey for you, and an inspiring journey for you as well. Not many athletes, know too much about the junior college system here in New Zealand. And so can you touch a little bit on your experience there? Like, you mentioned the junior college system is only for 2 years. How are the facilities at junior college? Are they really nice facilities there? Did you feel like it was very similar to your Division II program?
No, because obviously when it comes to 2-year schools, you'll find a lot of community colleges that are 2-year programs as well. So those schools have sometimes athletic programs. So those are universities that don't have a lot of funding, a lot of the backing for athletics like a Division I or Division II program has. So facilities and all that stuff wasn't up to par with those type of programs. But yeah, I mean, and like I said, that was my issue. I didn't pay attention much to my academics, and that was a big thing that hurt me in my process, in my looking for schools, and my ambitions to play at the highest level I could, because you got to mix both. They have to be balanced. You got to do well in the classroom and do well on the pitch as well. So that's kind of where I lacked. I was more focused on one than the other. So I took the JUCO route. Obviously, good thing that they had that route. They have that route for people that maybe aren't sure of what they want to do, especially for internationals or not sure. Maybe that's just a way to get over here and get familiar, get acclimated to it. And then others that might not be NCAA eligible, might not have the grades, or, for example, some programs that are JUCOs, you don't need the SAT. So you can take that route and go with that. And then from there, you do become eligible if you have the right grades to move on to NCAA programs.
Right. Absolutely. And after your college career, you mentioned that you played semi-professional, but then you also went and worked at a number of different universities before you started at Wake Forest. Tell us how you got into that.
Yeah, so luckily, when I was at North Greenville, they had a major that really interests me and that I was looking for. And that's a big key in finding where you want to go and being the right fit, because it is a 4-year commitment, and it's the next 4 years of your life that you make that decision. So the major I liked was sport management. So I studied that for my last 2 years. I graduated with a sport management degree, but my last semester there was considered an internship that you had to fulfill to be able to graduate. So what I did was my internship in coaching. I decided that's what I want to do. So I reached out to a couple programs, got a couple offers to come, obviously volunteer as an assistant. And luckily I was able to do that at a program called Southern Wesleyan University, which is also a Division II program. Now, back then was a NAIA school, then turned into NCCAA school, which is a College Christian Association, and now is the NCAA Division II program. But at the time that I was there, they were in the transition. So we played in the NCCAA division, like I said, which is the Christian College Association, and we were national champions of that. So that helped me a good bit. I learned from great people there. The head coach that's there is a good friend of mine. He's actually now the assistant at a Division I program in the ACC.
Wow.
So I have a good relationship with him, and that's how kind of leapfrogged my career. From there, I went on to a Division I program called Presbyterian College.
Right.
Learned from great guys there. For example, the head coach, John Potter, and then the other assistant, Flo Leo, who have both had great careers. the year I was there, we turned the program around. We all three came in at the same time to a 0-16 program. Turned that program around in 1 year, made the conference semifinal, and lost PKs in the first season. And then the next season that I left, because I was offered another job, that season they ended up winning the championship for the Big South conference. So I like to say I had a hand in that, a part in that, because I recruited the players there that went on to do that. So I take a lot of pride in saying that. From there, I went back to my alma mater in North Greenville for a season, and tried to help as much as I could there. There was a new staff, and I came on, and it was a time where I got to be a little bit closer to home and do things for a program that I enjoyed, that I spent time at. So I was there for a year, and then after that, I was able to go on to another Division I program, Wofford College, which is in the SoCon division conference in the Division I era, and was there for a season as well until I moved on here to Wake Forest.
From a recruiting standpoint, you know, you've got an amazing CV. You had a great college career. You've had as both a student and also as a coach. When that job came about for Wake Forest, how come you took it? What made you want that Wake Forest coaching role?
Obviously, I wanted, like my aspirations playing at the time when I was playing to now, I want to be at the highest level I can, and being in the ACC at, I think, the best soccer program in the country when it comes to college was a step that I wanted to take. I had a good relationship with the staff here. I've known through, obviously, out in the recruiting realm and camps and stuff like that. So I've met them and knew them. And once the opportunity came about, I had to jump on it. The staff here is amazing. It's three other guys, the head coach, Bobby Muse, two associate head coaches, Steve Armis and Dane Brenner. So I'm coming in as an assistant, basically working under three head coaches. So that was a no-brainer for me to be able to learn from guys like that, guys that have been through it, in a program that's been the 6 college cups. You can't beat it. So yeah, I had to jump on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when you told me you got the job. I was absolutely stoked for you. It was such a. I know it's a massive achievement, because Wake Forest isn't a college that's ranked 40 in the country. They've been consistently inside the top 10 in the NCAA Division I men's college rankings for a number of years now. And you guys have had an amazing group of athletes. Now let's talk about the athletes that you guys have recruited. I know, me being in New Zealand, you have had the opportunity to recruit New Zealanders. You've got Calvin Harris, the Wellington Phoenix striker. How's he doing? How's he settling in over there?
He's settled. He's settled in. That's for sure. He obviously was recruited before I got here. He was brought on by the staff, and obviously me taking a look at who he was, checking out his videos, getting the chance to talk to him before I even met him, gave me more of a willingness and an anxiety to be able to work with him and get him on campus. So when he came in, obviously every international that comes in has a little transition period. That's no problem, but I think his wasn't that long, and he came in on the right foot. Obviously, a freshman coming into a group like we had is very challenging, but he took it and ran with it. Obviously, was bought into what we do as a staff, what we want as a group, and did well this past season. Made all ACC freshman team. Just the other night, we have awards here at Wake, which we call the Golden Globes, like you see on TV and stuff like that. But we have for our athletes, and he was the male rookie of the year for the whole university. So he's fit in well, and we're excited for the next season to see him add to those accomplishments.
What kind of student athletes do you look for when you recruit for Wake Forest?
I think it's obviously a mix of a lot of things. Obviously, technically, you want a player that's sound, tactically gets the game, understands what to do in certain situations. But at the same time, you watch other things in the game when they're off the ball. What are they doing when they just lost the ball? What are they doing in transition? Little things like that kind of tell you what type of person they are as well. We look to bring in people that we think will fit into what we have as a program and as a culture, and other things when it comes to not the football part is academically. Wake Forest is a very high academic program. I mean, we compete with Ivy League schools for recruits and student athletes. So that's another aspect of it that we definitely look into when it comes to the recruiting and what kind of kids we want to bring in.
For sure. And, there's a lot of athletes that I guess will be sending you a ton of emails with, wanting to come to Wake Forest as student athletes. What catches your attention? Is it like, obviously we spoke about this on the phone before about, the importance of being a national player for your country, helping your value as a recruit go up. Is that true? Do you only look at like national level players, or do you look at other athletes that may not get those opportunities as well?
No, obviously we want the best of the best. Obviously, we're going to try and get the best players we can. It doesn't matter where they come from. I mean, we did a webinar the other day for high school coaches here in the States, kind of just filling them in on what we're doing as a program, as a staff during this time. And one of their questions was, do you guys even look at high school players if they're not playing in the MLS academies or any other academies or well-known clubs? And we're like, of course we'll look at them. We want the best of the best. Doesn't matter where they come from, as long as they fit what we're trying to do, as long as obviously academics line up with what we have to look for. And obviously those things help when it comes to having youth national team experience, playing at so-and-so academies, playing at this level and stuff like that. Those things will obviously help when it comes to it. And relationships are a big thing for us. So we talk to people that we know and people that let us know about players as well is a big thing. So no, we try and recruit the best, and it doesn't matter where they come from or what kind of experience they had.
Sure. I had a couple of questions from some parents, and obviously with COVID-19, all the athletes and students in high schools are back home now doing stuff online. And, they're not going to their soccer trainings. They don't get an opportunity to go to the gyms. Now, you get some students that are very self-driven and are still working really hard on their fitness. And you get some students that are sitting at home playing Fortnite and going through with that. When you guys recruit athletes, do you look at their athletic ability, and what kind of things do you look at if you do look towards those sort of things?
Yeah, so obviously athletic ability is a big thing when it comes to the sport, and it's something we do look at. If you look at our team, we're not the biggest team. We're not a team that's gonna skyscraper over everybody else. We're a team that loves to play the game and loves to play football, possession based team. Obviously, possession with a purpose, which is to penetrate defensive lines and stuff like that. So we look for technical players when it comes to that aspect. So they don't have to be the biggest guy or the most athletic guy, but we want a good mix. We want an athletic guy that technically knows what they're doing on the field and tactically is aware of what's going on. So obviously it's a grind when it comes to college soccer. So we need players, student athletes that are going to be fit, coming in fit, because you don't really have time to prepare when it comes to that. So this is a good time to actually work on fitness, work on preparation for yourself when it comes to that, because obviously it's the next step for a lot of these young men stepping into a realm where you're going to be playing against men. So obviously the athletic part helps a lot when it comes to that.
Awesome. And do you look at like the Yo-Yo Test score as a good indicator of what their fitness levels are?
Yeah, so we do a beep test, which is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Same thing. We want a benchmark to start off with you and see where you're at and stuff like that. Do we look at that before you even come in? No, not really. But obviously we want you to be at a certain level when it comes to tests like that, like the beep test or stuff like that, because you don't want to fall behind, especially at a place like Wake, where we have guys that are at that level and even more coming from great backgrounds and stuff like that. So they've been prepared, they've been focused, and those are the guys that are driven and getting after it, not the guys sitting playing Fortnite all day.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of parents have been messaging me that, and I kind of laughed because
Yeah.
it's true. Like, you know, the most successful athletes are the ones that are self-driven.
Hmm.
And I mean, look at your team. You guys have got a bunch of elite individuals in your roster, ones that have aspirations of becoming professional. And let's talk about that a little bit. You've got a lot of athletes from around the world. This year's Calvin Harris, for example. Do you guys get a lot of phone calls from professional scouts, like asking for players to be drafted into the MLS, etc.? Well, how does that work?
So, along with playing in the best conference in the country in the ACC, those things do come along a lot. Obviously, those programs are looking for the best players, and if they can find it in their own academies, if they can find it in the college game, they're going to call to the best programs that they can find in the best conference. So we do get calls all the time. We have obviously scouts and recruiters that do come to games and watch and obviously get in contact with us here and there. But obviously, what we're focused on is 4 years that they're trying to put in to get a, a diploma and obviously have a good experience here. Do we prepare you for the next level? Of course, we try and do that. That's our mission, not only on the field but off the field. We want to develop you into great men at the same time. So that's our mission, to get you to the next level, whether that be in the business realm, whether that be on the field, whether that be the next step of your life. We do look for that, but we do get calls all the time. Obviously, the staff is well connected everywhere when it comes to that. So we know people in places, and we have people that we have good relationships with. Yeah.
Sure. And Wake Forest is an amazing place, you know, to prepare people for both the academic futures and also for a potential professional soccer career as well. What sort of facilities do you guys have and resources and tools that athletes can use to help them become a better soccer player?
Yeah. So obviously, like we talked about, I've been in a lot of programs, so I can kind of weigh it all out and stuff like that. And I can certainly say that here at Wake, we have some of the best facilities I've ever been around. We've actually upgraded our facilities. We've actually have gotten new facilities when it comes to that. We have we've upgraded here and there. Obviously, our training field. Before I came to Wake, the training field was not what it is now. There was a time where I was doing camps at Wake for the staff, working with the staff, and they didn't have a training field because it was getting leveled and reseeded and everything and stuff like that. And now it's plush, it's perfect, and it's great. That was a good addition there. And our training field obviously is right next to our stadium, Spry Stadium, which holds the best fans in the country. I think if you ask around and you see where people have been to games in the college atmosphere, you'll see that people say Wake is probably one of the best college fan bases in the country. So that doesn't hurt there. But obviously, like I said, upgrades that we've had, we've just added a nutrition center along with a multi-million-dollar facility that has a indoor football facility, our new basketball offices, basketball training court, with a weight room, their own weight room. Olympic sports has their own weight room, which is obviously sports that you would see in the Olympics: soccer, basketball, tennis, golf. They have a weight room, and football has their own weight room as well.
Wow.
So all that in our new building, and the nutrition center is a great addition as well. Obviously, with all the running around as a student athlete, going from class to class to training, sometimes you have to figure it out when you can eat. And it's a good addition for athletes that they have the nutrition center there where they can go and grab a quick snack if they don't have time for a big meal for lunch or something like that. They can swing by the nutrition center, grab a snack there, and have that to hold them over. And obviously other things that we have that kind of helps the student athlete is our tutors. Our tutors and advisors that help us day in and day out. Our guys meet with their advisor every week, and then with their tutors whenever they set their schedule. So along with having their classes and their professors, they'll have a tutor for specific classes that they need. We check in with them, obviously, to make sure that if there's anything we can help with when it comes to that. And then their advisor's always on them about their classes as well. So there's a lot to help the student athlete because obviously there's a lot to do. So when it comes to that, sometimes you do need a little help here and there, a little guidance. But the guys put in the work, and it's good to have the help here and there when you need it.
That's what I love about college athletics, regardless of the sport, is that your guys are giving every opportunity to succeed, both academically and both in the sport as well, which is a fantastic system. And also, for parents that are watching this, remember, athletes must meet a 2.3 out of 4 GPA at all times if they want to be D1 eligible, otherwise they can't compete. So, you're forced to be better, you're forced to pass, you're forced to do well. Outlining those resources that you have and painting a good picture of it, can you walk us through what a day as a student athlete looks like at Wake Forest?
Yeah, so going along with obviously the resources that the guys have and stuff, we find ways to help them as well. So when it comes to their schedules and stuff like that, we kind of tailor it to or suggest that they have classes in these certain blocks and these certain times, and we'll set a time for training away from classes and stuff like that. So for example, our guys would probably go to class from 8 or 9 whenever they have their first class all the way to maybe 3:15, and we'll have training at 3:45. So it gives them a little bit of time to get changed, go get some therapy in if they need it, go see the trainer, and then come to the fields and be ready to go. But obviously we try and give them a little bit of time to where they can do that. When it comes to balancing out their schedule. Along with that, we kind of at the beginning of the season we'll give them out. Okay, this is your schedule for the year. When it comes to games, we're gonna miss these certain days. We're gonna miss this time block. We're gonna be leaving for so and so during this time. So you have to let your professors know a week in advance. So that communication is a big thing. As long as you communicate with your professors, as long as you let them know what's going on ahead of time, they're pretty helpful when it comes to stuff like that. Maybe you'll take a quiz earlier, or maybe you'll get the assignment sooner. That way you can get it beforehand and try and hand it in before we leave, or maybe they let you know that you can do it while you're on the road. So it's all about communication when it comes to your professors and stuff like that. So obviously our guys, like I said, will go to class. We'll train around 3:45. Be done around maybe 4:45, 5. Nice little cool down. They'll walk back down to their to the locker room and change, and then they kind of have the rest of the afternoon to get obviously dinner and try and do whatever classwork they have and a little bit of downtime and stuff like that. And go from there for the next day. Obviously, when it comes to game days and stuff like that, it's a little bit different, just depending on what time the game is. If it's a a weekend game or a weekday game and stuff like that. So
awesome. No, that's fantastic. And obviously, being in a very powerful conference like yourself, you play a lot of big time programs. Some of those programs are located a little bit far away, and sometimes when you compete, you got to do travel more than like 8 hours. Do you guys use the plane much?
yeah, so obviously in our conference, the ACC, we have a couple teams that are kind of farther than driving is a possibility. So with games that we kind of have to go more than, I would say, 3 to 4 hours, we'll probably catch a flight to those games beforehand. So that's where that comes in, that communication to your professors. Hey, we play Saturday, so we're gonna have to leave Friday on a flight, or Thursday. Sorry, we'll leave Thursday to catch a flight and be there Friday and be ready for the game Saturday and stuff like that. So yeah, when it's games that we have to go farther than 3 to 4 hours, we'll catch a flight. Yeah.
What advice can you give these student athletes if they want to go and compete in D1?
Yeah, so obviously trying to play at the highest level you can whenever you can is a good stepping stone to get you where you want. You want to challenge yourself. You want to put yourself in different environments to see how you do. Obviously, pushing yourself is a big thing. When you get the opportunity to play at a higher level, or even play maybe with older guys or girls, whatever you can, you have to find ways to take those opportunities. It helps, like I said. We recruit from wherever, but it does help when we see player A has been playing at so-and-so academy, or has been playing for the national team, or has been playing for this. So it does catch our eye, and it is an aspect that can help. I think pushing yourself is a big thing. Not like there's, like you said, if you're not doing it, somebody else is. So putting in the work, putting in the time to get where you want to go is a big thing.
Awesome, man. And what do I got to do to get you to New Zealand?
Obviously, we gotta let the governor here figure that out first, and then we can set something up. But no, I definitely want to come over.
Oh, absolutely, man. It'll be great to have you here in New Zealand. Hopefully we can time it with one of the rugby games whenever that happens. Even that's up in the air at the moment. But, hey, look, thank you so much, Jonathan, for your time. And for all those athletes that are watching this, go check out the Wake Forest University page. Check them out on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Even go on YouTube and look up their highlights for 2018, 2019. There's an amazing amount of content there. You can get an understanding of what competing at D1 is like, especially at the top end. And I mean, look, there's a number of top programs out there for the guys that are at the elite level in New Zealand, Australia, and other countries that are watching this. Wake Forest have got an amazing setup, highly endorse their program. And Jonathan is a guy that if you contact him, he'll get back to you very quickly with an honest answer. So again, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here. Stay safe, man.
You as well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.